This is Candace Stewart, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of my podcast, Trade Secrets. Today I have a goddess, a queen, the Empress. I have Paula Salvatore here.
I am
Hi, Paula. How are you?
so fortunate to be this woman's friend and ally in the recording world.
Oh,
And
my
I am
God.
so honored to be one of the first women on your great show.
You are the first woman on my show.
Thank you.
And that was, with a purpose. Would like to say,
I have no purpose.
Paula was greatly influential. First of all, she still works with Universal. She ran Capitol Studios for over 30 years. Your current title is?
I am Paula Salvatore, a VP Client Relations and Studio Marketing for UMG.
Which is such a perfect fit. Paula knows everyone. Everyone knows and loves her. She is cherished by me and many others. It's self-serving for me to say that I bring my friends on this show, but I'm just going to say I love all the people I talk to, and I'm sure, at some point in time I'll talk to people that I haven't been friends with for over 30 years. Anyway, Paula was 12 when I met her. She's 12 years old when I met her. She's 40 now.
I had to be a stand-in to Candace for her family because she wasn't in LA yet. She's so young.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's we have a lot of stories. Paula and I have had the good fortune to actually do a lot of panels with Paula. As she mentioned, we've been friends and competitors for a long time. I think that people don't realize how small the audio industry is in Los Angeles and how close-knit it actually is and how much we actually help each other. I think people don't realize that we're not haters.
It's like a high school that never ends.
We call the management job big boy daycare. You men out there, don't be offended. We say it with love.
No, but it's true. You want to bring your stuff and go play with the other boys.
There you go. But I've been so lucky because I've had Paula's wonderful guidance and influence throughout my career, which has really helped me.
Same here.
And we were so blessed to have Rose Mann.
Yep,
who
Roseanne
I'm trying to
Cherney.
get her on the show.
Roseanne then became Roseanne Cherney.
Roseanne Cherney. She's elusive. I've tried to get Rose on the show. We'll see. We hold out hope one day that Rose will actually do it. But Paula really, I think, I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about her history and how she got here. And I will start with the question that I ask everyone, Paula. I really only have one question, and that is, where were you born?
I was born in Providence, Rhode Island. The hospital I was born is now a senior citizen, so you could just stay there all your life if you had to. Anyway,
you could just go back.
Yeah, I'm just going back to my room, and then grew up in Providence till fourth grade. In the middle of fourth grade, moved to Johnston.
And what did your mom and dad do?
My mom was just a mom, did all the mom
Chris
things.
Sester says she mommed her balls off. Paula won't say that, but that's what Chris Sester said about his mom.
Really? Yeah.
She mommed her balls off.
No, my mom, very young mom at 19 and had 5 kids. My dad was an insurance man, which I never understood. And I have an aversion to reading those forms because he always had them around him. I'm like, what a job. Oh.
I'm applying for Medicare right now, and I'm telling you, I'm so confused. I won't talk about that on the show, but it's been
all
a real
those
journey.
things I need someone to talk to. It just
I need help
I don't
in
like
general.
reading long forms.
Yeah, we want the short form, please.
Yeah,
short
I
form
want
version.
just get to the point, okay?
Yeah. So how many siblings?
I have 4.
All
2
right.
brothers and 2 sisters.
Okay.
I'm in the middle.
And in the middle?
I'm like second.
In middle, but oldest girl?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm second. I can't really say I'm in the middle because I felt like I was in the middle for a good, 8 years. Then they had 2 more. So
interlopers. Who do they think
I
they
had
are?
an
Having
identity
more kids.
crisis. Am I a middle child or am I the second?
I'm the youngest. I'm the oldest.
Right.
I'm
the
middle.
first girl. My dad
What's
won't let me
happening?
do anything because I'm the first girl.
I'm the
And
only
he'd
girl.
always
And
say
these
to me,
other people come
that's
along.
because I'd say Stephen did it, and he said he's a boy. So you imagine how feisty that.
I have a brother
that got
named
me.
Stephen.
Yeah, I know.
And a brother named Rick.
That's funny. Well, I don't have a brother named Rick.
I have a brother named David.
Nope.
You only have a Stephen?
Stephen and Danny.
Oh, Danny.
On both ends.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right. And your sisters, what are their names?
Janet and Lisa. Janet and me are really close. We're like 18 months apart. So,
But Lisa,
I used
don't
to
feel
try
bad
to get her
'cause
in
Paula
trouble,
loves you.
and she wouldn't
Paula
oblige.
loves you equally when you listen to this podcast. Lisa, don't feel bad.
Lisa's great. Lisa's
The best.
an amazing person.
She's
Yeah.
the best besides Janet.
Yeah. Yes. You
This
love
doesn't really
them
get
all.
edited, so your family probably will hear this, just so you know, when you direct them to the link. So you grow up in Johnston, Rhode Island, and now in elementary school, did you play an instrument?
No, but in kindergarten, I got put behind the piano because I was not
Were you put behind the piano being punished, or did you get to
Yes.
sit at the piano?
No, I was just being punished.
Oh, okay.
The first time I ever got punished because I wouldn't take a nap on the mats.
Okay, I have a question, and you can answer this. When we were little, they would give you cookies and like Kool-Aid, and then they would tell you to lie down.
And they had a
how,
mat.
How the hell were you supposed to eat the sugar?
They had a
and then
mat
lie
that moved. You know, they had one of those mats you couldn't kind of maneuver. And I used to go talk to the guys.
She's been a flirt her
And
whole
I
life.
was flirt before I could
Very
walk.
classy, but a flirt.
Before I could walk.
Very classy, but a flirt. I think I kissed a boy when I was 4.
I kissed the boy before kindergarten because I thought I was in love.
He was my godparents' son. Does that mean make him related?
So we have the same problem, I think. Anyway,
We were precocious. So you got put behind the piano. Now,
Well,
did
she
you crawl?
said
Did you crawl inside?
You were supposed to be. It was upright, and she said you were supposed to be not talking and napping. So She actually had to move the piano out and put me behind the piano, and
Were you little? You're little now. You
I
must
was
have
in
been a little
kindergarten.
girl.
Yeah, but you know what?
Petite.
Yeah, I was a little. Well, I was a little girl. Okay. Weren't you a little girl ever? Yeah.
I was pretty tall. By the time I was like 5, I was pretty tall.
But you know what I did? I stared at the keys. And I thought, this is amazing. Look at this. So I was like, she's like, you can come out now. I'm like, okay. So I think that might have been why I had such a piano thing. You know, some people have mommy, daddy issues. I had piano issues.
Do you now? Did anyone in your family?
Piano abuse.
Did anyone in your family play an instrument?
Nope. And I heard this girl, and when I was about, maybe 10, she played this Indian song, dun 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 dun, and I'm like, I love piano.
Native American.
Native.
It's fine.
Okay.
We have a liberal audience.
Cheers to.
Cheers to that. Cheers to the Native Americans. We love all
one of my
peoples.
first love songs.
We love all peoples. So it was like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
boom,
it
boom,
did.
boom,
Da-da,
boom, 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 boom.
da-da.
Come out from behind the piano.
Da, 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 da. Wow, what a memory. Okay. So I was really asking for a piano when I was 9. I said, I can play this little Magnus chord organ, and I know I can play by ear. And my dad said, okay, let me name a song, see if you can play it. And I did. He did something.
What was it, like hard, like Frank Sinatra or something?
Yeah, it was Frank Sinatra.
Oh my God.
It was Strangers in the Night. And
Yeah.
it was just the chord, thing. And he's like, oh. Then he goes, okay, we got you a sewing machine. And I'm like,
Maybe was he confused?
did I say singer by accident?
That's funny.
Yeah, so
I got a sewing machine when I was 6, and my mom also gave me the
6?
astrology game. I don't really know what
that
that was
doesn't
all
make
about.
sense. We
Yeah.
should have met then.
Yeah, we should have. We very separated at birth, me and
Yeah.
Paula.
Yeah.
So you're 9 years old. You get the sewing machine. Obviously, you have a talent for sewing. I've seen it. You've helped me. You put lace on the bottom of my outfit that I wore to a wedding.
Yes.
But as you were growing up, and when you were in like elementary school and stuff like that, did you join the band or do anything like
Are
that?
you kidding? No, there was not. I tried to get my sister and my cousin to start a band, and I'm like, we had a shed, and we
But
said,
like the school band.
no, I didn't even do that because I didn't play anything. I did kind of.
It wasn't cool when I was a kid.
Night, no.
When you were a kid, it wasn't cool to be
And I
in
tried to
band.
get my sister and my cousin to just do a band when we were like 12, and I said, I want to sing Monday, Monday.
Oh, that
And
was
you guys
recorded in this
do-
building.
And you guys do Bada.
We're in Studio
guys-
1 at East West
Isn't that
right
funny?
now.
Yeah, how destiny brings you.
Paula had Frank Sinatra before me. Well, I mean, that sounds wrong. Paula managed Capitol.
I did. Yeah.
And Frank was at Capitol before he came
Yeah,
to
and-
6,000 Sunset,
but he
where
came
we are
back
now.
to Capitol.
And we're in Studio 1.
Yeah, so we have that in common.
Yes,
We always did.
Although Paula actually got to meet Mr. Sinatra.
I did. I met him in 1993 during duets, and actually got a kiss. He kissed me.
It's amazing.
And so it was.
She's Italian, obviously. Paula Salvatore, just saying. He recognized his own.
Yeah. And that's when I realized I was born in the wrong decade.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Something, I listened. There's a show. Have you heard that show? It's on 88.1. I believe it's on Saturdays.
Oh.
But it's all Frank.
Well,
Saturday morning?
Is it by that, who's that?
I can't believe I forgot the DJ's name.
There's a seriously Sinatra on
Maybe that's it.
Sirius Sinatra.
This is
on Sirius Radio.
This is on KJazz. This is 88.1.
Okay.
But it's on Saturday, and it might be the same show.
Jerry, a guy named Jerry.
Yeah, I think it's the same show.
Yeah, I think it is. Wonderful.
And not to digress, but hearing the difference in his voice from when he was younger, always great, without question. Probably
he was
the finest singer of all time.
His phrasing, everything was on.
Amazing.
You know? I would, sometimes I used to fantasize that I'd be running across the hall to go down the studios, and
he would come out.
It's my movie concept. Just running across the hall and running so fast, and all the tape machines were in rewind, and they all snapped together, and I snapped into the 50s.
You went back in time to the time machine, and the time machine was a tape machine.
Yeah, the time machine.
Dude, I love that.
The time machine would say...
Okay, anybody listening to this, you're not allowed to steal our idea for our movie.
It's going to be on... This is an announcement that's here.
Yeah, this is now an idea for our movie.
But the tape machines, you know that they rewind, they make a big noise, and they slap back. And so I thought... And then I was in the 50s managing the studios.
See? Well, I mean, something I think I pointed out a couple times on different episodes. I don't think people actually realize that a lot of the studio managers have been women always since the 50s and 60s.
Do you think so in the 50s? I think they weren't really managers. I think they were secretaries in the 50s.
Well, but I think here at Western they had early on. Well, also it was different when you had a big place. Like when you and I first started, you had traffic. You had the manager, which managed the facility and the staff, and in our case is the business, which is what we ended up doing. But then you had separate person who actually handled the scheduling, which was traffic. So when we started, there was that delineation. But I did both.
You had to grow to be manager kind of thing. So,
yeah, I did both pretty early on because I worked in small places.
Me too.
As did you?
Yeah, with Kendun, they taught me a lot, about that, about billing. And I was in traffic. And while I was at Kendun, it was...
Yeah, when you say you're in traffic, it doesn't mean you're in your car in traffic. It means we've jumped way ahead. We need to get back to Paula's high school. We're going to get back and we're going to take this through the arc of her life and get as far as we can. But a lot of what we want to find out is when you were younger and you said you were trying to get a band together and that didn't happen. So when you were like, say, in junior high or high school, what were you pursuing besides boys?
Well, you didn't
Good
have to
Catholic
nail
girls.
it on the head right
boys.
so quick. Yeah, they were enough to think. I was a fun student. I took place in stunt night and stuff, but kind of dancing. I wasn't really the singer. I liked to sing, but I didn't really have that confidence. I didn't play anything, so I helped make the outfits.
Like Glee Club.
Make the outfits. Nope, none of that.
I didn't do any of that either. I wasn't a joiner.
No, me either.
And
plus, we're like, I was
in the 70s. It wasn't.
I was hanging around with the guys from Kneecaps. Like I was in the college preps classes with all the straight kids, which I love, and I still, my reunions,
Smart
I see
people,
them.
yeah.
All the really smart straight kids.
Yeah.
But the boyfriend I had at the time was 4 years old. I was 15. He was 19. He was already out of school. He graduated.
Same. I was going out with like a 25-year-old
and
in high
he
school.
was a Johnston alumni, so all my teachers know him.
But he wasn't the guy who didn't graduate until they kicked him out at 22.
No, he graduated. He was senior class president, so he was crazy. I didn't know the word charisma till I met him. Someone told me. Well, someone told me he has too much charisma, and I said,
"Wait, there's no such thing as too much." What?
Yeah, there is when you're like too cocky.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But, that's arrogant.
But anyway, he kind of helped me learn how to sneak in concerts in Rhode Island. And so when
we grew up in the 70s, people. Do not judge, okay?
When I came in LA, it was like I had that experience behind me. I couldn't put it on a resume, but I did have that experience.
I know. We're going to talk about that concert that you told me about, too, with the famous band. Yeah. But we don't... Basically, what I try to show people is there's no one way to end up being successful. There's no one way to end up having your dream job. And I know I can speak for Paula with confidence and say that we both love what we do and always have and always probably will. And so you're in high school, you're living your life, you're in Rhode Island, you're boys are chasing you, you're doing your thing, you're being a beautiful young woman. When you got out of high school, what did you want to study? What did you want to do? Did you want to go to college? Did you know what you wanted to do?
I was sewing a lot, so I was always listening to music. And I figured I'll make clothes for rock bands. I had a Barbie doll. I made her clothes. They were really sexy. I watched Cher on Sonny and Cher and Bob Mackie. I would go for that, So I was like, I want
Bob
to do
Mackie's
that. I was all
gowns.
about entertainment, but then I thought, it might be easier to make great clothes for guys in bands because it was 70s and they all wore that velvet and Mick Jagger and all that.
Remember Stretch and Sew?
Believe me, I stretched and sew.
Well, polyester was a thing, and my mom was a wonderful seamstress, and I remember that.
I like Panay velvet.
I love velvet.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a thing that they, initially, we don't need to get into this, but initially when you first were sewing with polyester, it was hard because the needle would get stuck, and they came up with special needles, and they came up with special ways to cut and deal with polyester and stretch clothing.
Yes.
Remember that. So initially,
I had an aunt that I used to go, that's how I learned to drink a lot of coffee. She just drank and drank. I was drinking coffee at 12, and we would just sew and sew and sew. So I made all my prom gowns, all my Easter outfits. I made my boyfriend a blazer. I made me a blazer.
That's hard. A man's jacket.
I was sewing maniac.
You were so talented.
And they were really nice. I wish I could have put all that energy into piano, but I didn't. So then I just sewed and sewed. And then when I was like 17, almost before I graduated high school, they got a piano. I'm like, wow, that took a long time.
That's confusing.
That's like a 7 year
It took 8 years
wish.
for them to get a piano.
7 year itch. It's like, and they said,
your parents.
you could take lessons. I'm like, what? Like, I'm like going.
That was then.
I'm going out on the town. I can't say that. That was a 9, so I used to go out, come back, kind of stop playing piano, and my mother looked in, and they gave my younger sister lessons because she wanted them, and they said, you could take lessons too, not to cut you
Is
off.
that
And I
Lisa
said,
or Janet?
that was Lisa.
Okay.
And so she was like 10. I'm like, yeah, perfect. But I was the one that I was playing by ear, and then so then I go to Boston with my brother to look at. He was visiting a girl that lived on Mass Ave, and I was like almost graduating, thinking, I want to go to California, but what am I going to do?
Yeah. How am I going to make a living?
So because I was just ready to do something, and I didn't want to go for
the record,
else.
we didn't grow up in families where we didn't have to get a job. we had to get a job out of high school. Yeah, I worked during high school. You probably had a part-time
department
job.
store in the boys' room. In the boys' department.
I worked in the makeup department of a drugstore.
I worked in the young men's department.
This is all just so makes so much sense. So much sense.
Well, I figured I'd could size everybody up and make the clothes. So my brother took me to we went to Boston. We visited this girl, and they're talking. I'm looking out this window in Boston, and I'm looking at this building, and it's a big brick building. There's so much activity, and in every room, the guys had lights on. There was a musician, there's guitarists, I'm like, what is this? What is this famed
What
building?
was it?
It was the Berkeley College dorm, and I'm like, so there's just musicians everywhere. and then I'm looking at a 17 magazine, and there's a pamphlet, a pullout, and it says Chamberlain Junior College 2-year program, fashion design and illustration. I'm like, and it says learn how to sew, create patterns and stuff like that. And I'm like, I looked at the girl. I said, where is this school? She goes, it's 2 blocks on Common Ave.
Across the street from the musicians.
Across the street, like 2 blocks over. So I said, that's it. So I took it home and showed it to my father. I said, this is where I'm going. I'm going to make clothes for bands.
Your father?
My father. Hello,
Dad.
mother. Hello, mother. Hello,
Hello,
father.
mother. Hello, father.
And so my dad said, good, so apply.
Did they help you pay for school?
I got scholarships.
Nice. Financial aid, et cetera?
Yeah, financial. being one of 5 kids. You know?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll just go to Boston. And I had this teacher that was from Finland. She worked for this company, Mary Mecco, that had all these beautiful patterns like this. They're from, Finland, Sweden area and stuff. And she was amazing and taught, how to do things and sew. And
she was a good teacher?
Oh, yeah. She looked like Lee Remick. She was just, well, you go do this,
Lee Remick is an actress, for those of you who are really young.
And I just
good-looking actress.
I just kept up on the music and just said, okay, here's what I'll do. And
was the concert scene pretty,
oh, yeah.
It would have been happening
Well, it was
in
happening
Boston.
In Rhode Island, Rhode Island, Edgar Winter.
What about, you had like Aerosmith there?
Well, they were being broken in Boston right then.
Yeah.
The DJs were dead. It was.
And what about Boston? Was Boston from Boston?
Yes. WBCN FM.
WBCN FM, Boston.
Had the best people. I met good friends. Tommy Hodges went to KLOS, was station manager and stuff.
Oh, so you met DJs?
Yes. When I got there, I got a job. I actually walked into an Indian import clothing store, and I saw this guy, Charlie Stewart, that
Indian imports is sort of like Cost Plus World Market.
It's like this.
Yeah.
And I saw this guy that I remember seeing when I was 15 in Rhode Island on the east side where Brown University was. And I'm like, look, that guy's gorgeous. He had just bright blue eyes and long hair and 6'2". And I'm like, and then I saw him and I'm like, oh, it's that guy. So I went up to him. I go, I'm from Rhode Island. And he's like, get out of here. And I'm like, that's how they talk when I'm from Rhode Island, get out of here.
Which really means hello. Yeah.
So I said, I need a job. So he hired me. So I said,
wait, so you worked in the radio station? I'm confused.
No, this is the Indian Import clothing store.
Oh, got it.
But
okay.
Charlie was good friends with the BCN radio station.
Okay.
And all those guys there. So I started playing on the softball team.
Wow, nice. I like it.
See, I get like involvement. Get involved in anything,
Get involved.
So then, I dated a guy that was a DJ for a minute.
Nice.
And I made him if you're listening, you're going to laugh, John. Anyway, I made him first I made him a pillow because he had broken his leg, and I actually brought it up to the radio station. They were at top of the Prudential building.
Was it a velvet
And he
pillow?
said on the
was
radio.
It a velvet pillow?
Yeah, it was kind of like soft and blue. And he said, boy, I could really use a pillow for my foot right now. So these are things you do when you're 19.
Young and in love.
Yeah.
I think you're in love.
I made him a pillow and brought it up there. And I appeared at the radio station. I said, I have a pillow for...
I love that. So sweet.
And they let me in. Yeah.
I'm sure they would have let you in anyway. So how long?
And then he said, my friend Paula brought me a pillow. I was like, what did I do? I'm like,
it's all good.
But I sewed, so that's what I did. Anyway.
It's all good. How long did you stay in Boston?
Well, I talked the school into letting me stay in the dorms that summer between first and second year, which no one ever did. So
you had a place to crash?
I had a dorm on Commonwealth Avenue, and they charged me $4 a week.
Oh, so outrageous!
$16
so
a month.
Expensive.
I was running into, and so I was kind of on my own in Boston that summer. It was great, and
How
people
old
go,
were
"Where do you
you?
live?" And I said, "Com Ave."
How old were you?
19.
Mm-hmm.
And people said, "Where do you live?" And I said, "Com Ave." They said, "Oh, expensive." They go, "What do you pay?" I go, $16 a month. They go,
what?
Wow, $1,600. Well, that's pretty good. I go,
no, $16. Oh, I love it. That's a great.
They just took it out. I worked for the school like for 10 hours.
That's a great story.
Yeah, it was great. Still, but I did have a crazy boyfriend I was trying to get away from. That was crazy.
Have I already pointed out that it was a different time? Because because when I was 19, I had been out of high school for 3 years already, and I'd already gone to the Bahamas and everything else.
Did you graduate early?
I did.
Oh my God, you're just a genius.
No, not.
You're so blessed.
My father passed, and I just wanted to get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah, right.
Get out of here.
Many people that skip.
Get out of here. I skipped the 11th grade. Yeah. So I talk about this several times. But
that's
anyway,
crazy. That's amazing.
Doesn't matter. I don't know. It didn't seem so at the time. It just seemed sort of like what I had to do. This is what I have to do. And I think the reason I say that is I know Paula felt the same way. Like
that's it. We want to get on our own.
Yeah, you want to be on your own. You want to be self-sufficient. You want to start your life.
That's it.
And you love your parents.
Yep.
And everything's cool, but you want to start your own life.
No, and we had,
good parents.
a booked house. It was really, I felt like I
Well, you got 7 people living.
7 people, yeah. And
yeah, we had 6.
And in Boston, it was more electrifying. But I always saw Boston as, let me get an education behind me, no matter what, and then I'll go to California.
You always wanted to go to California. Now, why did we?
I think, because
girls are in the canyon. I can see them out there walking. I can't sing, but you know what I'm talking about? Was that Mama Cass?
That's Mama Cass.
Oh, the young girls. The young girls
are coming to the canyon.
Oh,
Yeah,
the young girls are coming to the canyon. Sorry,
and,
audience.
and Joni Mitchell.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all those
She
California
was Canadian.
sound.
She came down from Canada.
She went California.
Yeah, oh, true. True.
And
California Dreamin'.
Yeah.
We had that.
Oh, yeah. I was all that. And then when I was about 9, right about the time of sewing and pianos and stuff like that, my uncle, who had joined the Army, he moved to California. So I heard it. And then he brought back his wife.
And marijuana.
My auntie from California.
And marijuana.
No. That was later.
Okay.
But she was so kind of glamorous, like more glamorous.
She was from California?
Yep. So I'm
I was born here.
That's crazy.
I know. They left when I was very
I
little.
didn't know that. So I was just like, wow, and I would always, people would go to me, like, what are you going to do when you grow up, when you were little?
Be in California.
I said, I'm going to California.
What are you going to be when you grow up? Living in California. Yeah.
That's it. I was just.
I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be in California. So when did you leave? So I'm not going to gloss over that bad boyfriend part and why you stayed in the dorm. We will.
Well,
sort of go past that.
So I got my own. The second year, I got my own room and stuff, and
Was
so
the
now,
boyfriend going to the same school?
Was a boyfriend? Yes.
Oh,
that
was he going to be a designer?
No, he was an architecture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Did he become an architect? Do we care?
Yeah, it's a long story.
We don't care.
Anyway, no.
We don't care.
I mean, we care, but we
wish
don't
him
wanna
well,
talk.
but we don't care.
Yeah. But the second year, was just, more independent and kind of hanging out with the DJs now, and I'm really getting into
music. Were you working?
At the Indian Import Clothing Center.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I missed it, of course.
Which was great because I'd always...
Because your rent was $16 a month.
Well, then it was college back again. And the great thing about there was, I used to go in and put on a sweater and leave with it. My boss was like, did you have that on when you came in? I'm like, yeah.
We don't call it stealing. We call it modeling.
I was bottling. I was modeling.
I mean,
no, it was.
You're really doing marketing.
Listen, you put it on and you wear it and people go, I love your sweater. I'm like, it was a sales thing.
I think that he was probably very wise to let you wear the clothing. From the
He actually hired me when I took a break from Kendun to Sound City. He actually moved to California and hired me to work in the clothing mart. And the company was from Rhode Island. And instead of Indian Imports of Rhode Island, it became named Adini Indian Imports, which was very hard to say on the phone.
Welcome to Adini Indian Imports. But I can't even. I'd say.
I would go Adini Indian Imports.
Oh my God, I can't even say it. So what year did you move to California? Oh, sorry.
70s.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're not going to get.
We don't put.
So you moved to California pretty
Yes.
soon.
Well,
after
what
that.
happened was,
Did you graduate from the design school?
I graduated design school, and I went back home, and this is a clincher.
Clincher.
6 months before, I graduated, I said,
Dad.
Mom.
Oh yeah, Mom. Yeah, Mom's
Mama,
the easier one.
I said, I know what I want to do. I'm going to come home and study the piano. And my mom said,
we sold
selling it.
I was kidding. I didn't. Wow.
And I said, but that's what I want to do. I realize it now. And she said, we're getting a hutch.
We're getting a china cabinet instead. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Can you play that? No. She said, we're going to get a hutch. And I said,
wow.
Can we keep the piano and get a hutch? No,
Oh.
And I said, and I said,
you can't make this stuff up.
She said, no one's playing it. And I said,
to her,
because I'm not there. Can you give me 6 months,
yeah,
Mom?
come on.
I said, I'm not there. That's why no one's playing it. I'm the only one that loved the piano.
Mom, I have to move to where there's a piano.
Mom?
I'm leaving now.
Basically. I'm going in search through the Wild West yonder to find a
Now,
piano.
did you come out here by yourself, or did your brother come with you?
Well, that's so what happened was they sold the piano, and that was kind of like a turning point. Was like
It was a sign.
yeah, okay, no one's gonna listen to me. I tried when I was 9. I tried when I was 19. 10 years I've been like, so I graduated.
She has that same piano in her house now.
No, that's long gone.
It's a different piano.
I have the hutch. I inherited the hutch when they passed away.
Don't you have a piano? No
yeah,
upright?
but I got it sounds.
Don't you have an upright in your house, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Did I trip on that?
Yes. No, you do. You still have a piano.
Cheers. So this is part of the reason that I want people to talk about.
Well, you're just trying to see how you're driven and what drives
like how
you.
did you get to where you are? you
Yeah.
know?
So-
Besides in a train or a plane or a car. How
Well,
did you
true.
get?
So the thing was when I got this job sewing for a show band, and they wanted Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta, one-piece jumpsuits.
The white jumpsuits.
Cut down the middle.
Woo!
The name was Stars. I had to
Freddie
put it on the
Mercury
back.
style, baby.
Yep.
Freddie Mercury
and
style.
that whole thing, and one-piece jumpsuits. So this
Can
guy,
I just ask how do
this
boys
guy I met
how
in
do
the
boys
streets
use
of
the
Boston.
bathroom? They have to take the whole thing off,
Yeah,
like we did, like
yeah.
we do.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah, I didn't make anything special.
no flaps.
No, I didn't.
No
flap.
hidden
I said, no
pockets?
flap. You take this whole thing off.
That's
So,
funny.
but it was pretty difficult because you don't want to like make it too tight for men in the torso.
Yeah, they got to dance. We call that the back waist
So I
length.
think
Is that the
was
back
a challenge.
waist length? Is that what
I
that's
don't
called?
know the terms.
I think
but
when
all
you're
I know
sewing-
is I had a tape measure. I said line up, So I had to take all their measurements, and I made 6 show band outfits.
Now, I don't know if this is a fashion term or not, but the crotch of pants is in fact the part of the pant in the middle and the front.
Like this is us, me and Candace talking fashion design and fitting.
And now we've gone crotch. But I
Yes.
mean, so when you're measuring a guy, I remember my mom always saying to me, you have a really, I do your what's it, your back waist length or whatever? Cause I
Yeah.
have
The certain measurements. But
yeah,
had
because
a
I have
book,
like a long,
like what tailors would do. They
yeah,
would
like I have
a
like a
thing.
long,
Yeah.
long legs and a long torso.
Yeah. So you would have to measure from armpit to and all the measurements. But it was funny because this guy hired me. And they're like, I went to see a rehearsal, and I'm like, okay, you guys ready? And they're like, because I was
Cute girl.
19, 20.
Cute
And-
girl with a tape measure coming at you. Here I come. Watch out.
And this is before they had the ones that go.
Yeah.
These
It's
are the regular cloth
it's fabric.
ones.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
cloth ones.
Yes.
How things have changed. Anyway, but I did a good job, and they made some money, and I said, I'm saving this money for California. And meanwhile,
What was the name of that band?
Stars,
With a Z.
C-A-R-Z.
Nice.
Yeah, I wish I had
Did
pictures.
they have
but
some success?
no, I mean they did a summertime. They had a lead singer girl, and then the guys. So they had a good summertime
Did
run.
she have a matching jumpsuit?
No, I didn't have to sew for her. Just all boys.
What did she wear?
I didn't care. I didn't know.
Very good point. Good point.
But the thing was
But that's Boston or that's California?
That was in Rhode Island.
Okay, gotcha.
Because
Rhode
I
Island.
graduated. But what
Okay, she's
happened
gone
was-
back home. There is no piano. She has to get a job.
Right, and I thought,
I've known you a long time, and this is a new story.
yeah. So while I was in Rhode Island, thinking about making these outfits and stuff, my boss said, you have tickets to the Rolling Stones at the Boston Garden. So me and my friend Lucy came to visit me. She worked with me at the store, and we were
Did
buddies.
he buy the tickets, or he got them because of the radio station or the store?
No, I didn't. He just got us them. Got us tickets.
We love this guy.
Lucy was in Rhode Island. We took a bus, Greyhound bus to Boston, and we were talking all about how nice it would be to
meet the Stones.
to meet the band. Like
Yeah.
I never met a band in a going to a theater. I went to a lot of concerts in Rhode Island, but I never got to meet anybody. So we're talking this over, and then she we get off the bus, and I said, we got to go to Indian Imports and get our tickets from Charlie. So we're running there. I'm running ahead. She starts talking to this guy. I'm like, oh, you talk to him. I'm running ahead. And so I go to the store, and Charlie goes, your tickets are for tomorrow night, Goofy. They're not for tonight. We didn't have a place to stay, and I had to call a friend to see if we could stay somewhere, but I hadn't called them yet. And I'm like,
whoopsie.
I'm like, oh, I didn't really prepare. So Lucy comes walking in the store and
Flying
says,
by the seat of your pants.
someone's pants. Lucy came in and said, oh my God, that guy works for Bill Wyman. He's a security guy for the Stones. And I said,
for Bill Wyman.
yeah, for one of the Stones. And I said, oh,
The
she
bass
goes,
player.
he offered us tickets for tonight, but I told him we have them. I'm like, we don't.
OMG.
I
Did
said-
she have, and now this is pre-cell phone.
I said, no, this is pre-cell phone. This is
I know, so
pre-everything.
how did she have, did she know how to reach it?
I said, she goes, I told him we had tickets. I said, where is he? Did you get anything for? She goes, no. So I'm like, well, he can't be far behind. Let's run up Boylston Street. Two 20-year-olds on a mission. We got to find.
Tiny little 5'2", 20-year-olds running down the
And
street.
she was 5 foot, so she was even shorter than me.
Okay.
So we're running up the thing, and we see him outside at a Chinese restaurant, just sitting alone by a round table.
Lonely roadie.
lonely, And we go, oh, hi. And he goes, hi. He goes, come on over. So we just sit there, and we lightly tell him that we do not have tickets for tonight. And we'd be happy to have tickets for
We
tonight.
would love to go.
He said, no problem. Come to Sheraton later. I'll get you the tickets. So we're like, well, let's just hang out, have some tea and everything. So he goes,
Nice.
yeah, the guys are all running. I'm like, don't believe him because he doesn't look like, he's not like the Mariah Carey big security guards. He's just this guy.
Just a regular guy.
So I'm like, is this for sure? So I'm kind of.
I like it. Street smarts. I like it. Skeptical.
Yep. So,
Survival.
So he goes, yeah, the
I
guys
like
are
it.
running around. He goes, oh, there's Dwayne and Mick now. He goes, oh, Dwayne. He yells this guy, this
Who's Dwayne?
This black guy that he knew, and he was walking up the street, and he yells Dwayne out, and this guy comes
Dwayne's
over
with Mick.
with this other guy with a green velvet beret,
Fedora.
a hat, with his hands in his pockets, sunglasses.
Keith
they
Richards.
both turn around.
Oh, no, it's Mick.
Little guy. He was Mick.
Little guy.
And they turn over and they sit right, and I'm like,
Hanging out with Mick Jagger.
I am not looking at Lucy because we
Hanging
would
out
burst
with
out
Mick
laughing.
Jagger.
And so he goes, tea for everybody. And I'm like, oh my God, how's it going? How's the road? I'm trying to forget it. He's like, I don't know where I'm going. They just took me on a plane and take me there. I'm like, okay, thank you.
Crazy blue eyes, Mick Jagger.
He had
The most
green,
beautiful eyes.
amazing blue eyes, and he had a diamond in his tooth.
What? Maybe he got rid of that.
It was the 70s. He was good looking. I mean, he
You
always
know
is.
what?
He's
Give
handsome.
him his due, man. He's still touring.
Yeah, come
he
on.
is still running around. I mean,
He's
this is not about my Mick Jagger story, but I have one, a couple, and I'm just gonna say, booyah to the Stones. Right on with the Stones.
Totally. Inspired my life.
They're touring.
and
They're coming
inspired-
here in July.
Yep. So that
Maybe you should reach out to the roadie and see if you can get tickets for the show.
So we did meet some roadies on that whole excursion because we went both nights. We went to the party after. We
How
ended
is
up,
that?
We ended up not calling my friend to get a room that night. We ended up
Staying up all night
staying at
long.
the Sheraton, Boston, in the ladies' room because the party went to 3, and we actually, me and Lucy actually ran into Mick and Charlie again at 7 in the morning. I don't know what they were doing. Look at the breakfast place that was closed.
Would this have been like? So this would have been like.
Billy Preston was on tour.
Right. This would have been pre-Jerry Hall, though. This would have been Bianca
This was
Jagger.
Bianca. 'cause
Yeah,
she
this
was
is Bianca.
Yeah, because then what happened was
See, we women, you should know that women of a certain age, we talk about Mick based on who he was married to
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
So it was Bianca, then it was
Bianca
Jerry
in the
Hall.
white, beautiful suit she
Oh
used to
God,
wear.
so
Yeah.
gorgeous.
So basically that happened, and that was like, wow, that's like, we were like on
Did you
the
get
bus.
to meet Bianca? Was she nice?
No, not there. But no, and then I never did either. I saw her around. I'm not.
I
she
never
wasn't-
met her either.
Yeah, she wasn't like opening. Like, hey, hi.
It's got to be hard.
Yeah.
Got to be tough.
But it was just one of those things that occurred to me, which, and this happens a lot, very serendipitous with youth or with imagination, but.
And or you're young and beautiful.
And you would say, imagine if, wow, things happen. And I think California has that kind of dreams come true, but dreams get lost. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah.
You can do it. You can imagine, and things can happen. And it's kind of wild, you know. So once we did that, I went back home, and I said, I got to get some fabric. I got to make these outfits, right? And I went to New York to see Lucy, who lived outside New York, and we looked at the paper and we saw that the Stones were playing at Madison Square Garden. So I'm like, we should go and say hi to our friend, the roadie
How
guys.
much longer? How much later is this?
2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
It was their tour. So I
Gotcha.
said, we should go find our friend. So we go to Madison Square Garden. We're trying to send a note in. Can you imagine? Can you tell? We're trying to talk to the people that work there.
They weren't groupies, ladies and gentlemen, but it is like Almost Famous, where you're waiting outside the venue going, "Do somebody just take this note and take it in for me?"
Yeah, because
I swear I'm
phones.
legit. I
Yeah.
swear if you get it to the guy.
So then this guy comes up to me and he says, I hear what you're saying, and I used to work for them. Let me get you in, find your friend, and then you can get your friend in.
Nice.
And he got me in. And
Wait, you went in alone?
I went into Madison Square Garden
But she
alone.
waited outside?
Yes. And the Bahar...
Same girl, Lucy?
Yep.
Lucy's on the Stones tour with Paula.
The Baharimba steel drum band was playing, and the feeling being in New York, first time in New York, hearing that band and everything.
In Madison
and
Square
I
Garden.
had no idea where I was going. I was walking around, and then I went as far as I could close to the stage, and I see that roadie guy, Mike, and I'm like, I go, Lucy's outside. So he goes outside. Next, I look back there. I see Lucy. I'm like, get me back.
Right, oh,
there.
so now Lucy's backstage and you're not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is how this. By the way, any of you listening to my podcast, if you are a famous rock star, do not take one girl backstage and leave her friend
was in
out
the
in the audience.
audience, though,
Yeah.
so-
Take both the girls backstage. Okay. Be cool.
How about
All
when
right,
you're
go ahead.
sneaking in, you have to do whatever you can. So
I know.
basically, they were so nice after Michael. He said, in 2 days, Mick's going to have a party at this rooftop discotheque. You guys are invited. He's having a party for the roadies. So, but come to the concert first. So we and Lucy went to Madison Square a second
How
time.
fun.
So twice in Boston, twice in Madison Square Garden. We went to this after party.
How fun.
We were dancing around, and Mick
Billy Preston.
was
Keith.
Eric Clapton was hanging out, you know.
Nice.
But it was just
Any
you know.
Beatles? Any
so-
Beatles around?
No. So then what happens is
Paula knows the Beatles.
so this is my way to California. So then what happens is Lucy's now we're back at her house in outside New York, and she says, I'm making a trip to California to see my brother. He lives in Eureka, but I'm going to stop in L.A. I go, well, go see my brother, because he was there at the time. And so
By the way, Eureka's really far away.
yeah, I'm from L.A.
Yeah. It's like the Oregon
But
border.
who knew? So
Yeah.
so she goes like this. She goes, do you want me to make you a flight? And I never ever took a plane before. And I go, yes. So she makes a one-way ticket to California.
Where is Lucy now? I want to meet Lucy.
Lucy's in Asheville.
Oh, North Carolina?
Yeah.
I need to meet this woman.
Oh, you got to meet Lucy.
I gotta meet her.
We giggle so much, you know.
gotta meet her.
So she said,
Do you remember the airline or the flight? Back then, we had Eastern Airlines.
I don't
And
know
we
what
had
it was.
we had a lot of different airlines that we don't have now.
I don't know what, but it was 2 weeks away, and I had 2 weeks to make those outfits because I bought the fabric in New York.
Wait, I'm confused. What outfits?
The outfits for the show band. That was what I
Oh,
was
so
doing.
you're still there
So-
making the clothes for the dudes.
Yeah, it was just graduated, so it was just like a matter of. I left for California.
Here's your clothes. I'm out of here.
I left. Yeah, I left for California July 7th or 9th. Some of the two. But that's
I came
summertime.
out twice before I came.
Yeah, that was summertime. So she made the flight. My dad picked me up. I said, I'm going to California. He said, what? I said, I've only been saying it for like 10 years. And I didn't want to bring it up, but you sold the piano.
You lost me when you sold the piano. So July of that year, we won't mention the year. July of that year, July 9th.
Flew to California. And my brother and
This isn't moving, it's flying to California to see her brother and then see your brother.
I had nothing, so I had nothing to really bring but clothes. But she said, we'll stop in L.A.
Was it a one-way ticket?
Yes.
What?
I had no other plans but go to California.
Well, you know, there's a Zeppelin song there.
There's what?
A Zeppelin song. I'm going to California.
That was
With an aching in my
Okay,
heart.
so you got to figure, the night before I leave, the radio station's having a special on
That's
all
my Tony
California
Bennett
songs.
version.
They're
I'm
having a
going to
special
California with an
on-
aching in my heart.
They're having a special on all songs about California. I'm like, what? Is this crazy?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
It was
about.
a thing. It was California. And that song, I love that Led Zeppelin song because
Oh,
it's
that's a
very
great song.
sentimental.
Very great
With an
song.
aching in my heart.
Great song. Yeah.
Someone told me there's a girl. And
What's the rap
okay,
song? California.
So I get to California,
Hey, Nader
right?
off screen. Isn't there like a rap song?
What?
California Loves.
California. Yeah. So get this. I'm in LA on my own. My brother was here for a little bit, but then they all decided to leave.
Do you have a place to sleep? See, this is the thing. This is how we roll. See, people that are listening to this that are younger probably can't relate to this, but
It was just a trip backwards that got
I
me.
was very similar to you. I was winging it, dude.
No, this was pretty good because my brother
You had a
was in a
place to
band
live?
from Rhode Island, and they were all from Rhode Island, and they had a beautiful lead singer who's still around, Shoshana. She was gorgeous. And
Where were you
she
sleeping?
happened to be dating Richie Blackmore.
Well, that's great, and that's interesting. We're going to get into
sorry,
that.
but what I'm gonna say
about
is that-
Rainbow, Richie Blackmore from Rainbow,
Yeah.
love Rainbow,
Right.
and Glenn Hughes.
Right.
Who we
So
love.
she was dating Richie Blackmore. The Christmas before that,
Where were you
he
sleeping?
came-
Girl,
he came-
where were you
He came
sleeping?
to Rhode Island. Basically, Richie was in L.A.
Spit it out. Where were you
Richie was
sleeping?
in London putting Rainbow together. My brother.
She's
and
working
he
around
put-
it.
He put my brother and his friends up. They were sing with Shayna's band, who's his girlfriend. So we stayed at Richie Blackmore's house.
Oh, that is really not what I was expecting to hear. I thought it was going to be a Motel 6.
In
so
in
you-
Oxnard. My brother picked me at LAX and we drove to Oxnard. I'm like, could we find a closer airport? I'm like, like, where do you live? You know, so,
I
we're
love
in,
it. It's nice
We're in
there.
Oxnard at Richie Blackmore's house.
This is early on, too. Oxnard's beautiful now, but
Yeah,
they're
but it
probably
was, they still
pretty
had a lot of
hippies.
stuff in the sand. What's that? Tar. Yeah.
Tar.
There was
They have
tar.
a lot of tar there
I
now.
didn't have that happen to me in the beaches of Rhode Island. I walk out, I get
Yeah,
tar.
they have a lot of tar there
And you
now.
can't get it off your fingers. Don't ever do it.
I walked on the beach in Oxnard. I go there with my husband, as you know, and I got a bunch of tar on my feet a couple years ago.
How'd you get it off?
Nail polish remover.
Oh, see? I didn't know.
And alcohol.
I figured alcohol, right?
Different alcohol.
So anyway, we're there, and the paper comes, and I said, oh, my God.
Do you want some more red wine?
I said, yes. I said, look who, I said to Lucy, who was with me now, I said, you
Where's
never,
that bottle?
I
Where's that
said,
bottle
you'll never guess who's in L.A.
Mick Jagger.
The Stones.
Oh my God, you're messing with me right now. It was not Mick Jagger again. Now, okay.
And I found it by looking at the calendar.
Now, I know you, and I know that you and Lucy were not groupies. But do you think that Mick and Mike might have thought, like, oh my God, these girls are here again?
Well,
you were friends. It was
okay,
different.
I got to tell you this. Because we saw
There's a
them.
lot of
We
respect.
saw them twice in Boston, right?
You saw him in New York. You saw him twice in Boston.
Yeah. And there's
went to the party.
Nothing bad happened, but there's pieces left out of the story.
Yes, well, this
Right.
is not a PG show, but people might be listening to this that
Yeah,
don't
no,
need to hear
nothing
that.
weird happened, but it's just I can't tell all the details. But when we were the second show in New York, right? Because we went to 2 shows in Boston and a show in New York. The second time when he was having the party for the roadies.
Yeah. He being Mick Jagger.
Yes. Well, yeah. So we were just
That
tagging
guy.
along, and Annie Leibowitz was the
Photographer.
She was a photographer the whole tour. I'd like to call her sometime
Wow,
and
how-
find out
Dude, how cool
if there's
would
a
it
picture because one of
be?
the roadies said in LA, they said, we were watching her whole display of photos,
And you must have
and
been
there's
so
me and
gorgeous.
Lucy going.
No.
They saw
You're
us.
gorgeous now, but it would have been so cool to have.
Yeah. So out there. So anyway,
So now the Stones are in LA.
so the Stones in LA, but in New York, the second night of the show, they were announcing the Stones, and me and Lucy were backstage because they got us backstage. So this is the 4th time we're going to see them.
By the way, I've known Paula for quite some time, and I have never heard this story.
It's
So go ahead.
That's good.
It is
I
good.
Hate,
You got news.
I hate repeating myself.
She got new stories.
So me and Lucy are back there, and they all come walking out, right? The Stone. They're like, ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stone. So they're all coming out, and there's like all the guys, and Mick walks by us, right? And he goes, he turned.
Like it's you guys.
Like what? Like those guys. Yeah.
Like, what are you guys doing here? Nice.
And we're like, he's
Wait, that was in L.A.?
That was in New York.
Oh, that was in New York.
So then L.A. So then I'm like, oh, Lucy, I mean, I already feel like.
I just, you get to the point where you're like, you're so jaded. You're like, how many times can I see this stuff?
I said,
I've seen them already.
I said, these guys, what are they going to think of us? Like, so we call our friend Mike, who lived in Sherman Oaks, which I didn't know what it was.
Oh, we now have Mike's landline.
Yeah.
Mike Rohde now has a landline. Or is that Mike
You
friend?
know what?
Different Mike friend?
I might have found it in the white pages.
But is this Mike the friend who was the roadie or
Yes.
different? Okay.
He was a rigger. He actually
Ooh.
used to hold Mick Jagger on a rope with his friend while he swung over the audience.
Dude, I'm 64 and I could hold Mick Jagger. Now, he's a treasure and I probably wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying.
You don't want to catapult him.
He's a little guy,
You
man.
want to catapult him on a rope over the audience.
Catapult him. No, he's a wee lad. He's a wee lad.
Right, so they had that very strong responsibility. He
Mick,
trusted
if
them
you
with
ever
his
hear
life.
this, I just want you to know I respect you so much.
No, me too.
I do.
Me too. So we
Wild
called
horses.
him, and he said, "Come down the forum. I'll get you."
I was going to ask if it was a form.
So basically, my brother, God bless his soul, he was going through a terrible drinking time in these young years, and he said, "I'm coming." I said, "We only got 2 tickets." He goes, "I'll find my way in. I'm from Rhode Island." I'm like, "Right, okay." So I'm driving a 70s.
Which brother? What's his name?
My brother Steven.
Okay, gotcha.
My brother, I'm driving this Ford with the engine right here. You know those kind of big Ford vans.
Oh, dude, yeah, the van that had the engine. Well, the Dodgers had that too, where the engine was next to your seat.
Yeah. And you'd drive it like this.
And it had like a metal cover with a clip.
It was
right. You know what I'm talking about? It
Yeah.
had like a metal cover.
It was
with
a
clip.
white van, and so I drive it. I'm coming out of Knoxnard now, and I'm like, I don't really know how to get to the forum,
You're driving the van.
but let's go by the ocean. So we stop right. We're looking for ocean signs, and we come around this corner, and we're on the Pacific Coast Highway, which I dreamed about forever. And I'm like, oh my God! So we're driving.
That's a great drive. I did that recently. We come out and it's by like Guadalupe.
It turns around.
And you come out and you're like, bam.
That was my first sight. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, so then I went to a gas station. I said, "Where's the forum?"
And they said it's in like Inglewood.
Go down there. I don't even know what they said, but
It's basically by Inglewood.
But if you don't know California,
It's far.
you know what? I never even had a
Or as
car.
I'd like to say-
Listen, I didn't have a car in Rhode Island and Boston. I never.
Well, trains. But, you had
but
trains.
driving a van, so it was dangerous.
But so instead of far, you probably said it's far.
Yes, in fact, I told him I needed a certain amount of money for my gas tank, and he filled it up. And he said,
Who?
the gas station guy, and I said, I didn't ask you to fill it up. I said $4. He said, what? I said, I don't have any money, So basically, he didn't understand what I said.
Okay, she's not a grifter, but you got a free tank of gas.
Yeah, because I said I said $4. I didn't say fill it up.
$4? Fill it up?
$4.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I think he was a benevolent guy. I think he
was
saw.
nice. He's like,
he
oh,
saw
my-
a lady in need.
Yeah.
Gave
I'm
her the gas.
desperate. I got to go to the Stones concert.
A
I don't know
child,
where I'm going.
a child of God.
So we went. It was great. And this is funny because by the 5th time, it's like, Lucy, let's go see what the food is because we're backstage.
Oh,
And we saw George Harrison. We saw so many people. That's where we saw Bianca. But it was fun.
was it steak? Was it good chow?
It was so good.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah. And
Hey,
so,
by the way, those of you also listening to this podcast, don't cheap out in the green room, okay? Get some good chow. The people that get into the show, it doesn't matter how they got there, they deserve a quality snack. I'm just saying.
we'll go to a commercial break now.
No, we're not. Dude, we're good.
For Triscuits. Okay.
Oh, sorry to mention the brand name.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I don't know. Okay, edit that.
But anyway, so
Biscuits.
then they said there's a party up in Coldwater Canyon. someone's
Okay, I
house.
see a pattern here.
Yeah.
So but you get to the forum. You actually make it to the show.
Yeah, that's a forum. Makes
And you're
fun of-
backstage.
And my brother tried to sneak in by running down
Didn't
the
get in
ramp.
at all.
No.
Didn't get into the show at all.
Nah.
So he sat outside and waited?
He stayed probably slept in the van. Anyway, we did invite him to the party.
He was
So-
drinking then.
So we went to the party. Now he's such a
He's fantastic.
he's so wonderful. He helps so many people. He's doing prison ministry. He's just amazing.
Oh.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Stephen, we love you, and we know that it took everything that you experienced to get you to where
He's
you
a
are
miracle.
today.
Yeah.
You're a miracle.
So we went to this great party, and anyway, but I mean,
Okay, I never
Joe-
hear.
I was
I
so
never
much.
hear you say that the Stones after parties sucked.
I don't think that would have been.
They're pretty good parties.
Yeah.
Is this still Billy Preston, or is he off the tour?
I don't think was at the party.
And by the way, is this Mick Taylor?
No.
So Mick Jagger, it would have been Mick Taylor. Is it around the
Yeah, it
time of
had to
Sticky
be.
Fingers?
Yeah, 70s. Yeah.
Sticky Fingers, Goat's Head Soup, Angie.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's probably Mick
Yeah,
Taylor.
it's probably him, but he was kind of quiet. You know, this party.
Very quiet.
I saw this. Bob
Saw a quiet guy who
Bob
looked
Marley
like
was
Mick Taylor
playing
in the
at
corner?
Roxy. So Bob Marley showed up at the party. Joe Cocker showed up, and guess what? Lucy took off with somebody, and my brother took off with somebody.
You were by yourself?
Yes, I couldn't find them, and this was the craziest thing. So I'm in this. It's a house party. It's not a mansion. It's a house, and so
Where was the house?
it's right when you start going up Coed Canyon to the right. It was just a normal house and a big yard, but it was nothing fancy. So basically, now it's like 5 a.m. and all the English people are there smoking and playing guitar, and I'm like, I'm in a skirt.
Dude, you're hanging out and the Stones are jamming?
No, it wasn't Stones. It was
Stones are gone.
Ron Wood. Mick wasn't there.
So Ron is already in.
Yeah. So it's
Really?
just random
Was
people.
Ron already in the Stones, or was he just at the
He
party?
was in it. Yes, he was in it.
Wow, this wouldn't have been then though,
Like-
because it would have been like, well, I
late
guess he
70s.
probably came in the late 70s, maybe.
So they were all hanging out, and I'm like,
Because we did just forget the whole Ron Wood with Small Faces and Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
Ron Wood's
Well, no,
whole-
that was after. This was after.
This was after
Yeah.
that. Okay.
He was definitely in the band, So
Wow.
So, it was just like, I was just trying to find a place to kind of hang out. And so then I thought, I'll just start helping clean up. I'll start there were dishes.
Oh,
and
nice.
So I started bringing them to the
Well-mannered.
kitchen. You go for the living room to the kitchen, you go around again. And at one time, at 5:30 in the morning, I was bringing plates in, put them down. Coming in from outside is George Harrison.
Well, yeah, because he wants to help you clean the kitchen.
He was a little late for the party.
He was a little late to help clean the
And
kitchen.
I said, "Do you want to help me clean up?" No, get up.
He probably would have.
You know what?
A nice guy.
I wish I would have been more comfortable, because I just put the plate in and he said, "Hi." And I said, "Hi."
Dude, I get it. It's George
And he
Harrison.
said,
Come the fuck on.
How you doing? And I said, "Good." And I walked out. I went out. I went back around. I'm like, "That was George Harrison." I came back around and I saw him leaving. He got in the car. Wait. So I did.
George.
But I realized, if you run into George Harrison or someone like that in a kitchen at 5 a.m, have a conversation.
I'm just saying. Later, you heard me say it, but I've known Paula, honestly, for quite a long time. And we haven't even got to some of the even better stories. But I knew a little bit of the Stone story, but I didn't know this whole trajectory of the Stone story.
Well, it's just
so cool.
it's just when
It's so cool
things
though,
fall,
dude.
Well,
Yeah.
when things follow in your path, you kind of go, okay, there's a little thing here, maybe a little. If I follow it, if you follow that yellow brick road,
you can leave it rolling if you want, but I'll establish that you're a good girl. You know what I mean? You were a good girl now, good girl then.
Well, it's so funny because when the
It
guys
wasn't like what people think.
when the guys so
Everybody was cool. It was just a different time.
Okay, so there we are. We see the roadies.
Okay,
Boston, New York, LA, right? We're backstage. They go, "You two?" And I said, "We had this trip planned before we knew
Oh,
about
I love
the
it. I love
Stones.
it. We had this trip planned long before
We had our
met you.
itinerary in place before this tour."
Oh no, it'd be fun. Michael, it's you again. Wow.
No, we said that because they looked at us, and I said to Michael, my friend,
Yes.
"I wonder where he is." Anyway, I said,
You should try to find him.
well, we said to a couple of the guys, I go, they don't think we're groupies, do they?
Well,
And you know what they said? Guess what they said?
they said no, of course not.
No, they said you would have known it by now.
Ooh,
I'm like, whoa.
that's sinister.
No, they said you would have known it. You would have been
Well,
passed.
because they would have.
Because you would have been passed around. That's what they said.
Well, you know what I like? I think Mike probably protected you.
Yes. He was a
Mike, if you ever hear this, Thank
very
you.
stand right guy.
stand up guy.
Thank you.
And he was a big, strong guy because he was a rigger.
Yes. Wonderful.
And he wasn't going to let these two beautiful young girls that he met back in Boston.
So
Rhode
that's why
Island,
when I
he was gonna let
saw
him in
Almost
trouble.
Famous, it's like, whoop, busted.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, but it's again, to shine a light and to honestly say, and it's hard for people to understand. It wasn't nefarious. It
Well,
wasn't
I gotta
like
say
that. It
this.
wasn't like
I
that. It
gotta
was
s-
cool.
I got to say this to you as a woman, and a beautiful woman that you are.
Oh my God, thank you.
is that part of your success and authenticity is to be real and not just be there for you
Yeah.
have to keep it professional.
Well, and you self-preservation kicks in, and we could have a whole separate series about yours and my adventures and how we managed to not get, I
Burnt
mean, I used to
out.
hitchhike. You know what I'm saying? That's
yeah.
what I used to hitchhike.
I couldn't do that.
with a like a bikini top.
A tube
And
top. I used to
cutoffs.
make them.
No, I used to hitchhike with a bikini top and like cutoffs. Now, it's hard for you to
Yeah.
imagine looking at me now.
No,
But when
you
I
could-
was 14 or 15 years old, I was pretty flat, by the way.
Wait a minute. You didn't hitchhike at 14.
Yeah, I hitchhiked
young.
all the time when we lived in
Oh,
Virginia
man.
Beach. I hitchhiked all over
No,
the place.
I never did that.
And by the way, those of you listening to this podcast, be cool. If you pick up somebody who's hitchhiking, people don't hitchhike now.
No.
But if you do, be cool.
Yeah. Be
You
the
know,
cool one.
Be
Yeah.
just how about be cool in general? There was something I will say. There was a naivete, but I will also say that it was a safer time.
But
it was a
totally
safer
safe
time, dude.
And you know what? People warned you of stuff like check
Yeah.
the inside, check
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And you were
I
just
did
like
keep
on the
keep
edge.
my money and stuff inside my
Yeah.
my bra.
Yeah. And you know what? Your wit
I mean, sorry,
your
but
wit-
that's a thing.
Your
keep
wit
your
tucked
money.
you out of precarious situations. That's what I did. It's like
I mean, I think it's probably because you and I grew up with brothers. I
Yeah.
think we probably had some natural street smarts.
yeah, definitely.
But I mean, there were definitely certainly things that the guys did that were dangerous, and certainly things that you
Yeah.
that I did.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in the Bahamas, dude, that was nuts. Like that was nuts.
I
was
can't
like,
even
I was
believe
like,
it.
Like fucking 17, I'm hanging
can't-
out. And
that's crazy. Yeah, that's
surfing and
more wild. There's
hanging
wild
out.
people
It was
down there.
gorgeous. You know what though? There was two guys. And it's not about me, but there was two guys that lived in Eleuthera, the Thompson brothers, and they kind of ran the whole island. They owned the hotels and made the rum and stuff. And this is fairly gangster back in the late 70s. But they took a shine to me, and
Well,
I worked
that's
in a
it.
bakery, and they watched out for me, and nobody.
Right. See
Dude,
that?
these guys were so black they were navy blue.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can't say that. It's
That's
probably
beautiful.
politically
That's
correct,
a
but they were
beautiful color.
gorgeous. Oh
Yeah.
no, they were gorgeous.
Yeah.
But they were Bahamian and they had British accents and were probably gangsters. I don't know. But
because-
they looked out for me.
because of your
No
nature.
one touched me.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I noticed is that
No one would mess with
that you and I always like
You're the same
I
way.
believe God gave us guardian angels. I thought I had an army because it's like she's going for it. Get more out there.
Yeah,
Like now one I could see
me.
the guardian
Hey,
angel
Gabriel,
go,
Michael, are you on Paula tonight? Do you have Paula
I could
duty
see the
tonight?
guardian angel going. I can't take it. Like
The
it's
angels.
like what?
No, we've been
Yeah.
very fortunate. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, certainly had some close calls.
I
I
thank
won't
God
lie.
for it because
Oh,
I used to be at predicaments and go,
dear God,
dear
get me out of
God,
this.
dear God.
Oh yeah.
I know this is pretty stupid, but if you get me out of
If
it,
you
I'll
get-
be smarter.
If you get me out of this, God, I promise I won't do it again.
smarter.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're talking about, okay, let's focus, just shine a light on this.
We haven't even gone into our business.
Oh, no, we haven't even got there. The population of California has doubled since I moved here in 84.
Oh,
So the population of, that basically
Yeah,
means the
yeah,
population of LA.
yeah. It's
So with the extra 5 million people, percentage-wise, you're going to get a bunch of what I like to call fucktards.
that's a good word, and it's the people that like the original people that live here.
The native people. The Shumash. Are we going there? I love you so fucking much.
The originators
so
of the California,
The
dream
original native
and people born
Californians.
here are very cool. It's all the oncoming people that come out with their wild ideas and dreams that
Yeah. The people from New York and Rhode Island?
And Rhode Island.
All right, so wait, we gotta get past this Stones story.
Okay, sorry.
No, there's no sorry. It's freaking fascinating.
I'm just trying to get to 21 here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get us there. So no, I love it. So Because I think it's important. I think it's important for people listening to know. And girls,
Well, I would
girls
love
when
to
you're
inspire,
listening.
like even my fellow young girls from Johnston.
Agreed.
That have and that think there's nothing going on, but just just get married, have kids, and let your kids maybe enjoy life. It's like
Enjoy your life.
yeah. So I'd like to say that
Life's an
if you
adventure.
your imagination is very strong as a child. Let that be, and let's see what you love, and go for it. You don't have to okay, I want to be a piano player and singer. That was a dream.
That left when they sold the piano.
Thank you.
Life throws you curveballs.
Listen,
Catch the curveball.
Listen, that piano thing got me for a long time.
You know what is a joke? We should try to find out where that piano.
Can't even go.
But exactly what you're saying. It's don't.
If I had a piano, a piano in the morning.
If I had a hammer. No, don't let things limit you.
No, don't.
Don't
yeah.
get so frozen
Right.
into one path
Yeah.
that you're crippled when that doesn't
Right.
work out.
And because
You gotta
California is so much a dream, and dreams come true, but then you hit the reality, and then it's all, it's all like, no, this is reality. And I had to go through that too.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, should I leave? Should I run away? And I was like, no, I'm going to persist. And those are the points that make you strong.
I had an in-betweener where I came back after the Bahamas and I went back to South Carolina, and then I ended up going to Canada, which is another story. But I came back
for the
I came
Bahamas
back
to Canada.
I came back down here when I came to LA when I was 19, and I had about a year and a half. And I think I probably met you then, but then I went back. I got sick. I actually had the flu. And I got sick, and I called, bless you, and I
Speaking
called
of sick,
I
cue the sneeze.
I called my mom. Who you were the same. I never asked my parents for anything,
Right.
and my father was gone. I called my mom, and I said, Mom, I'm so sick. And I was living in David's apartment, and my mom was getting ready to sell the house.
Oh.
And she was getting ready to sell her house in South Carolina, and she was moving to California.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, she did.
Yeah, she moved to California, but I was like, Mom, I'm so sick, and I said, if you just pay for me to fly back, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to go back to college. And that's what I did. But then, as you well know, I came back out later.
Well, my first job that I took my way into was Kendun. And
oh, yeah, we're going to get to the studio
yeah,
part now.
in the late 70s. And, I met your wonderful
This is after
brother.
the Stones concert.
Rick. Hi, Rick.
Hi,
Wonderful
Rick.
brother.
Aw.
And the whole new world. I really...
You can talk about being the surrogate. That'd be fun.
Yeah, and Rick said, my mother and my brothers are gonna have dinner at this great place, Maria's in Santa Monica, and my sister's not in town. Would you want to take her place? And I'm like, sure, I can be a surrogate sister all the time.
Nice.
I used to go to Disney with people can I be part of the family? I don't want to date you, but can I join your family? It was really.
I don't really like you that much, but I really like your sisters and your mom.
I was growing with group things. I just really love the family unit.
Well, you
that
grew
I
up in a
left.
big family, and you had that sort of
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
And
So the weight of my heart was join the family. So I'm so I was like, Candace, I'm Candace right now. I didn't even know you. It's so weird.
That is and that was long before we ever really bonded.
We never met.
We're gonna jump right ahead. We're just gonna jump right ahead. So you were working at Kendun. My brothers, Rick, Steve, and David, who I talk about often, who are my loves of my life and so
Mentors.
fantastic, and mentors for sure. Steve was here this year at NAM. I can't thank you enough, Steve, for giving me a chance. Cheers to you, Steve, and Rick, and David. You're fantastic. But so you're working at Kendun. I love the story about how you got the gig at Kendun. How did you get from living in LA, Stones concert reality, working at the Music Plus? I jumped ahead, but I know that Paula worked at the Music Plus.
Yes.
The Music Plus was a record store.
So I was working and sewing and doing a lot of stuff, and then I went to Music Plus. I lost an earring. I went back to get it, and I said,
You lost an earring and went back to get it. You can't make this shit up.
I
dude.
said, and this guy Steve Nelson was working there, and he was a songwriter. And I said, you think are you hiring? He's like, yeah. So I got a job. So I'm like, this is cool. The records are great.
I am
Vinyl
listening to you. I'm
$4.99. It was the year of Star Wars, Saturday Night Fever, and Asia. It was those years, and everybody was coming in. It was great, and So then
I am listening.
I met a piano player. And
we're going to get into that.
And so
Won't get
anyway,
too
well,
deep.
I did. And so I started dating him and then started doing a little work for him. And then months later, it didn't work out. And
Okay, I
I was
am
unemployed.
texting right now, which is really rude in the middle of the podcast, but it's just something I have to deal with.
No, this is the reality. We still work, you know.
Yeah.
And so then anyway, that
Wait,
kind
we're
of
glossing over a big feature here.
yeah. Okay, so that kind of
You worked at Music Plus.
yeah, I was loving it. It was fun. It was records. It was just
Now
music.
you met a piano player while you worked at Music Plus.
Yeah.
And
So-
he was someone who was influential in your life.
Yes,
we
and
won't
I-
mention his name. He's a famous musician.
He was wonderful, and he played his butt off. And that
We're not
when
allowed
I
to
saw,
say who he is.
No, then when I saw that, I said, you know what, Paula, excuse me, but you're never going to be playing the piano.
Oh well, because he's the most unbelievable, one of the greatest singers and piano
so
players
I
of all
said,
time.
forget about it.
I
Forget about it.
can't say who it is.
Forget about it.
He's so talented.
No. So
I'm gonna say it
anyway,
later. I'm gonna edit it.
I
in.
was taking classes at Valley College for piano and guitar and I was getting into music because I'm like, finally I can do this on my own. And so anyway, this was kind of, I was, it just became part of my life. But when it kind of broke up for a minute.
Were you living in the valley, like Toluca Lake
yeah, I was
area?
living on Laurel Canyon and Moore Park.
Nice.
And I used to
Nice area now.
go to Music Plus, which was where Trader Joe's is behind Dupar's, which is now Sephora. Anyway.
So the Music Plus is there because there was another Music Plus like over by Burbank.
No, this was the Music Plus to go to because right across from CBS thing, all the studios. Do you know?
CBS Radford, which by the way just expanded. Wow. They just took over another 15
Oh my
freaking
God.
acres. I don't even know where.
I mean, I met like Zsa Gabor, like
Zsa
Mark
Zsa
Hamill, Marty Feldman. I was like, it was like the Fonz. Everybody came in because this is where they bought records. So all the
Fonz.
Toto guys used to come in. They started.
Who is the Fonz?
They said
Henry Winkler is the Fonz.
They said we started a new band, Toto, and they gave me a little pin. I still have it. It says Toto. I get the feeling we're not in Kansas, and I got to meet all the guys. So I was just meeting everybody. It was like so fun. And so
how did you find out about the job at the?
well, so I went away to work with this piano player for a little bit, and then it kind of
Who was that band?
fell apart. No, I don't know.
Angel?
Anyway, just a
Was it Angel?
local piano player. So
Okay, gotcha.
anyway, I was working for him, and then I wasn't, and so I went
so
back.
you were working for your boyfriend.
Yeah, but then it ended, so I went back to Music Plus, kind of like
We're
is this
glossing
it?
over that.
Is this it? Is this?
Is
could
that
this
all
be-
there is?
Yeah, I was behaving.
Is that all there is? Yeah.
If that's all there is, my friends, let's keep dancing. Let's
a
bring out the
great song.
booze and have a ball.
There we go.
If
Cheers.
that's all.
You're gorgeous. You're too far away to toast me. Fantastic.
I know he can't toast.
So,
Anyway, I went back to Music Plus and I said,
where's my earring?
I don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't know if I can get a job back here. And he said, someone just quit Kendun, and she was in traffic, and so I was like, and I had been in a studio with Vinnie Poncia, who was producing Melissa Manchester, Ringo Starr. He wrote "You Make Me Feel Like Dancing." He was from Rhode Island, so we got to be good friends.
I love it.
And so I called him and I said, Vinny, there's a job at Kendun. It's in traffic. What do I got to know to work at a recording studio? He goes, 24-track Dolby. I don't know. I'm like, good. So I called him up. Hi, this is Paul. I work with these couple of guys as production coordinator, and I know 24-track Dolby. And I said, I'm in the neighborhood. Can I come in? They're like, well, I don't care. Come on. So I got some engineer on the phone. They said, yeah, I guess so.
Probably Michael Bronstein.
This is 70s. Yeah.
Or my brother.
It was like, so I went over there, and they brought me into...
Kendun, for those of you who are listening, is now Glenwood Place. It's 619 and 623 South Glenwood Place. And now Atlantic Records has it. A beautiful studio. They've done quite an amazing job with it. And it was Kent Duncan, who was a very famous engineer and mastering engineer, and his partners were Glenn Phoenix and Tom Hidley. And Tom Hidley is such a wonderful designer. I had the good fortune myself of working in that complex for 11 years. That's where I started, where Rose
That's
started,
where you started,
and where you started.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, Rose didn't start there. She took a hiatus.
A hiatus.
A hyena.
She took a hiatus. No, she took a hiatus.
From record player and came to Kendun and met me. That's where we bonded. I'm like,
Nice.
so I learned from Rose.
Beautiful. We all did. A beautiful, beautiful studio. And Kent's no longer with us, but an incredibly talented guy. And he was Frank Zappa's mastering engineer. But a lot of records
And
were done
Stevie
there.
Wonder.
A lot of records were done there. And there was I think I might have somewhere letter, like a newsletter that was called Friends of Kendun. Yeah. Like we had them here at Western Recorders where East West is now. We also had those newsletters. But there was one called Friends of Kendun. And it was like, it was such a cool
so
time
wonderful.
in music.
I mean, when I got in there and I was just desperate, it's like get a job or go to Rhode Island, basically.
Oh yeah, so tell me about the interview.
So anyway, I told them, and they said, well, you can come in. So I went in, and a bunch of guys were hanging around, and then she came in, Althea Mathis, who's a beautiful lady. She said to me, Paula, I see you sewed and you worked for these two guys, that production coordinator. I just made it up, really.
Yeah.
I might have made a phone call or two for them, and I might have, made
Might have
dinner
booked a
reservations.
hotel. Yeah.
Made dinner reservations.
Might have booked a couple hotels.
So anyway, she said to me, there's been a big layoff, and she said, and a lot of these girls know
More than you
more
do.
than you. And I said, I have no bad habits. I'm completely trainable, and those girls are going to give you attitude.
Good for you. Good answer.
And she went, go talk to Bill Rogers. And
oh, I love it.
she said, go talk to the president. He went over me and talked about it. He said, go back and see Althea. And she said, we're going to give you a chance.
Oh.
So I thought, I just snuck in like my first boyfriend told me in Rhode Island, and don't sneak out. And that's why I'm still haven't snuck out.
Oh, you're doing so. You're just, you're such,
so that was it.
You're a total inspiration.
And,
dude.
it was just, Kendun, you just do your best.
You learned.
I learned. They were great
learned.
teachers. And
Yeah.
and Leela Greenstone, who taught me about all business, billing and all that, that goes along with it. It's not just like, hi, how you doing?
Exactly.
But it was an amazing place, and it was an amazing time. And that's where I met Nathan East. He just came up from San Diego. He had just come up from San Diego.
He's on the show.
He goes, what is
Here's
a
our
nice...
first video. He just came out last week on February 15th.
February what?
February 15th. Nathan
That's my birthday.
I know.
That's so fitting.
His
he used to say
episode
to
came
me,
out on your
He used to
birthday.
say to me, what's a nice...
I know it's your birthday.
He said to me, what's a nice girl like you do in a place like this?
His brother called me today. Marcel called today. See, this is another thing I want to point out to those people who are listening. The people that you meet when you're starting out, you hear people say this and it doesn't actually sink in. But if you're lucky, the people you meet when you start out are going to be your friends and your peers for your entire career. And I can say that I am so blessed to have had you
Look at that.
as my friend and my mentor for so long.
We are really blessed.
We are
you
so
know?
blessed. We are so blessed.
I mean, we're talking like
Decades.
35 years, which a lot of people are right now.
Yeah, we're talking a long time.
I mean, I meet a lot of people that are 30 and under, and I'm like, oh my God.
It's curious that we never had kids. A lot of the managers, Rose never did. None of us ever had kids. And my theory is that we get our maternal instinct is fulfilled.
Well, we have
by
a
the
bigger
staff.
role to play than, because if we have one child, we have to go back to that child and take care of it.
And our other
Did you
children would
realize
feel
that?
neglected.
What about all the other kids?
I don't know. What are they going to do? What's going to happen at the daycare center?
No, I didn't want to bring a baby to work.
I would
And-
have.
I know you would.
You know me.
And I didn't have family here, and I knew I needed family. I just,
Dude, that's
you know,
true. That's true.
I couldn't do the drop at daycare, come this. I'm like not that organized in the morning. Mornings are not.
Well, and I don't think you'd want to be a distant mom.
No,
You'd want
that's
to
why I don't have animals.
You would have been the best mom. You know, I have animals, as you know, and I've always had animals.
And you're very good with them.
Thank you. I
You've
think
mastered the art of animal
I think
training.
if I love my husband Brian so much, he's the only person. Other boyfriends and old boyfriends and ex-husbands who might be listening to this podcast, don't feel bad. But Brian's the only person whose kid I wish I'd had. And it's too late now. But if I'd have done that, I would have brought my kid to work. Kid would have grown up in the studio for sure.
Oh my God,
For sure.
it would have been amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Kid would have been in the bassinet area.
Well, that's what
I would have been booking time, pumping the cradle.
With your foot.
Like, be quiet now, I'm booking time.
Or you would have had your dog trained.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I would have
I
been
love
like-
those videos with the
I
dog
would have
pushing.
I would have been like, quit your crying, I'm booking time right now. I'm trying to get a set up.
Quit your crying, I'm booking time.
Well, I mean, people always, not always, but people ask you, they ask me, they're like, how do you become a studio manager? I'm like,
There was no school.
yeah, and there still isn't a school for this.
No.
I mean, other than maybe like business school.
But we do get a chance to speak with schools, and you started that for me. I got to say, you got me going with the certain schools to speak about, and we don't speak about too much technology because that would be funny. So we speak about how to
get a job,
how to act, how to be a job, how to get a job. Yeah,
how to be cool.
Yeah, which is how to it's a certain kind of personality to be people, make people feel comfortable.
I think, I started the beginning of the podcast and I was saying how a lot of the managers have been women. I think that, I worked in hotels, I worked in restaurants, you're naturally hospitable. Not that men aren't hospitable, men are gracious and fabulous. But I just think, and there are quite a few, Steve Burdick, Jeff Greenberg, we love you, all the male managers, Eli.
They're wonderful, but I think
you
you have a more of a challenge because when in doubt, just hug.
Yeah. Yeah, just hug. When in doubt, just hug.
Sorry.
Well, and I'm Southern, so I have a certain kind of
you have
hospitality thing. You're from Rhode Island, also. I mean,
my
apparently
mother,
all parts of the
and
world.
my mother was like that. I had a big family. Everybody, I had a big Italian family.
Paula's mom, I think she ironed the sheets. Is that what you told me?
Yeah, she did. Yeah,
like your whole life, like her mom. As Chris Sesser would say, mommed her balls off so bad.
Yeah.
The house was spotless.
Yeah.
She made gourmet meals.
Do you know one time?
And she ironed the freaking sheets.
My sister.
Where are these women?
My sister's daughter, Jessica, was one time. My mother made the bed so tight that one time they couldn't find Jessica, and she was. She was tucked in and she was hanging on the side of the sheet, just hanging down there because it was so tight that she just rolled over and landed.
My mom did the military corner thing, but she didn't iron the sheets. Yeah. But I mean, I think I remember my mom ironing my dad's boxers. My mom ironed my dad's boxers, dude. No, it was a thing. Like the handkerchief, the boxer. Dude, ironing. Okay, we're not going to talk about ironing because fuck ironing. That's all I'm going to say.
I hate it. I hate when I have to iron.
I did it. I still occasionally do it.
Well, when you sew, you have to iron.
You got to iron.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at, you're at Kendun. You're doing the gig. Now, Rose came while you were there?
Yeah, I was there
I'm
for
confused.
a year.
So you were in
Rose
traffic, and she came. What was her title?
Well, what happened was Althea got in a little traffic accident. She was taking time off.
Aww.
So they brought Rose in. And I remember when Rose walked in, I was like, what the heck is that? Like, I never saw such an exotic beauty.
Dude, half Italian, half Filipino.
She had her hair back. She had a thing around her face. She walked in and was like, ta-da!
Dude, she's 78 years old right now, and I'm telling you, she looks 50.
She looks
We had dinner
amazing.
Friday night.
Yeah.
She is so beautiful. She's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
She's so much to aspire to, and she used to say to me, Paula, do as I say, not as I do.
Oh, my mom used to say that.
I never heard that.
Oh, my
but
mom
anyway,
said
she became a big sister, and it's just like, and we helped each other through some tough times.
And she managed the record plant when all three of my older brothers worked there, and she was
she set the precedent.
Dude, she set a lot of the policies that we still follow.
Yeah. And all the hospitality things and just how to
and the kind of the way that we book and the way that we do
concierge,
holds.
yeah.
The way that we, but deeper, like the way that we do holds.
She kept saying, I'm gonna get out of this. I'm like, please stay with it. Because we were just like
she said, I'm gonna get out of it. And that was 50 years ago.
No, that was about that was about 10 years ago. But I was like, please, you gotta stay, because I basically Rose is like, I can't take the job, call Paula. And I think that's how I got to Capitol. Was she's like, no, I'm not working.
We've skipped over Sound City.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of your life.
Yeah. Sound City was a great part. And, it's like after being at...
Now, were you there when Nirvana was there or were you already gone?
No, I had just left the October before that.
Interesting.
I went, but when I was at Kendun and I just decided I had to... And I went through a real bad breakup. And so I said, I'm going to go work down the clothing mart and get back in fashion just to see.
Wait, you left Kendun?
Yeah.
So confused.
Yeah, I had left to get away for a little bit, leave of absence 6 weeks. When I came back, it was a little weird. And then Rose was gone. And so I left. And I went back to clothing. And I ran into Gary Lubo at an AES show in L.A. And he said, they need you at Sound City. I'm like... and Keith Olsen was just building his own place.
Did
and
he
stuff.
have what was it called? Good Night L.A. Then
It
Keith
was just
Olsen?
starting. Yeah, he was moving over.
I don't think he's with us any longer.
No,
I think
he
he passed.
Yeah,
Oh.
he was crazy. So they said,
Great
we'll talk
producer.
to you. And I got the 4 to midnight shift. So for 2
Now, the
weeks,
owners- who were
I
the
was
owners
working
of Sound
downtown
City?
LA from 9 to 4, took a nap, went to Kendun from 4 to 12. I did that for 2 weeks.
Kendun or Sound City?
No, Sound City. Sorry.
It's okay. So who are the owners of Sound City?
Joe Gottfried and Tom Skeeter.
Yep.
And they had so I'm driving to work and I'm listening to the radio and Jesse's Girl comes on. I'm like, that's a fun
Rick
song.
Springfield.
I said, that's a fun song. And when I got there, Joe said, we have Rick Springfield on our roster, so things are going good. So I started there.
So
in
cute.
1981.
So lovely. And his wife is what, Barbie?
Yep. And
So lovely still today.
Yeah.
Both of them,
Keith
Rick
was
and,
great.
Rick and Barbie. So
mean,
great.
Rick
So
was great.
this is, once again, you start out and these people are still around. Rick is still around. He was hugely successful. They were early on, Tom Skeeter and Joe Gottfried, early on were developing artists. And so that would have been a different thing when you came to Sound City working at a studio where they actually had like publishing and where they were developing artists.
No publishing, but just they were.
Well, they were developing him, so
basically
they had his publishing.
Common Productions, and they would come in and just do demos and try to get them signed, and they really hit, success with Rick Springfield.
In the documentary Sound City, which Paula is a major feature, it's a great film
Thank
if
you,
you
Candace.
haven't seen
Thank
it.
you,
Oh,
Candace.
it's a great film. You got to work with like REO Speedwagon and Tom Petty and all these artists at the time.
Dio.
Ronnie James Dio.
I got to say, REO and Dio were at Kendun, so they kind of followed me to Sound City.
Interesting, yeah.
Well,
Sound
maybe
City,
not,
Sound City, I mean, it's still there.
Yeah.
You know, Tony Berg and Blake Mills
They
still
didn't have
have
a
it.
lot of cash flow, but it was,
You know, I think, and I know it's stressful, but it was the same for me when I started working for my brother at Take One. And then when I went to Red Zone, all of the same complex was what Kendun, same as Kendun.
yeah.
Same place,
Yeah,
same
you
same
followed
address,
me.
same studios.
Yeah.
I think going through those studios where you have to learn to really manage the money and manage the cash flow, I think it taught us to be better managers.
I think so too.
And I think it taught us how to really deal with the strife. You know, I mean,
I tell you, when
I've been
was
so
the
lucky.
best, it was the best
Great training.
education.
Stressful, though.
I mean, dealing with we had a roof that kept leaking.
Oh,
we had,
I have one
we
now.
had- oh,
yeah, but very stressful, very, very stressful.
But I used to tell the guys, "Here's your paycheck. Go to the bank now."
Yeah, cash it right now.
Yeah, cash it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we just didn't have the money to implant back in the studio and stuff.
Well, I
but
think-
I was very hand to mouth. It was like running a farm that was going under.
Yeah, and it's you know it's a cottage industry.
So-
That's what they call it. They call it a cottage industry because it doesn't have a union. It isn't corporate. It's all individual owners. And the truth of it is, those times, you know, there are studios that are still around. God bless. Stagg Street is still here
Yeah.
since the 70s.
Yeah.
There are places that have survived. Kendun, which became Red Zone and Take One and Red Zone first Take One, then Red Zone.
Yeah.
Then became Glenwood Place, is now still Glenwood Place, but Atlantic. I mean, I think that there's something to be said for the independently run studios. I mean, obviously,
I mean,
Universal-
what a chance they took. What a
a labor of love.
Totally.
Seriously.
And who would think, 25 something years later,
Yeah,
that
Sunset
a famous
Sound,
person, Dave
Conway.
Grohl, would do a documentary and get
Dude.
all this attention.
Dude, and what we haven't talked about yet is that Paula wrote the song for the closing credits on the film.
I wasn't
She wrote the
asked
song
to.
and she wrote the song and she performed it. And Butch Vig and Dave Grohl kept it, and they kept it in the movie.
It's amazing because like I was, after 25 or more years at Capitol, no, maybe it was maybe it was 20.
Yeah, you'd worked at Kendun, you worked at Sound City. Now you've been at Capitol for 25 years.
And I thought, am I just going to go someday? And I said, I need to do something more in my life. And I said, I would love to get a song in a movie. That was my thought. Back to the piano days, I want to write a song. So that's kind of like the whisper of a dream.
How did you know that they were making the movie?
Well, Joe Barisi, wonderful engineer that I
love you, Joe.
hired at Sound City, went out of college.
Joe Barisi, Jeff Sheehan, all the people that came out of Sound City, Nick Raskulinecz, Siobhan will give you a shout out as well. But everybody who crossed the doors for Sound City, you were fantastic.
Jim Scott. Yeah.
Jim Scott. Yeah,
So
Jim Scott worked at Sound City too?
Well, he just worked with Rick Rubin.
Of course.
For the beginning days when Rick Rubin moved to L.A.
Ah.
So Joe Barisi called me.
Well, that's
he goes,
right. That's Tom Petty.
And Joe Barisi calls me. He goes,
Wildflower.
has anyone called you about a documentary about Sound City? I'm like, what? He goes, well, I got asked to do an interview. And I'm like, I only ran it for the 80s. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like so insulted. How could
How could they gloss over me?
I lived that for 10 years. I lived Sound City. I lived the roof leaks. I lived this. And he goes, oh, well, they'll probably call you. So sure enough, they called me. And they said, would you come to Reseda and meet Dave? And I had just seen Dave running around the halls, but he never really worked at Capitol. So I knew who he was, but I didn't know him.
When the Foo Fighters were already established post Nirvana.
No, but I didn't know them too well, and I didn't work with Nirvana and stuff. So I went over to the
we love you, Dave. Shout out.
Yeah, to the Reseda studio, and I'm like, okay, how many people doing documentaries?
I'm at Studio 606.
I didn't
Great
know
place.
it was going to be a big movie. I just thought it was like a documentary. So I was talking to them, and it was nice and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, this is cool. You're doing that. Like Sound City was kind of like, it wasn't like that.
But you know what? But it sounded really good.
You couldn't deny that.
Acoustically, it sounded great.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, it's
and they had a best.
Well, it's like somebody recording in a blues
Nirvana
club.
gave them a new life. Like I left, and Nirvana came in and was like, whoa, like you worry about a studio when you leave it. I went to Capitol. I'm like, Nirvana, like, all right. They
Good
brought
for
back
them.
this
Yes.
thing,
Aw.
and they saved it. And it's 25 years later. So we did the interview and stuff, and then I was hanging out with my friend Doug Deep, and he's playing guitar, and I'm like, I did an interview for Sound City, and I don't think like Stevie or Tom Petty is gonna do a song to Sound City. I think it'd be really cute to do a ode to Sound City, And he's like, like what was happening in the 80s? I go 2-inch tape. So we thought the thing, and then I go, so many things rhyme with city and pretty and litty, and it was so stupid.
It's songwriting.
But let's make a little goofy song. And so we did it. We wrote it, and then we came to sing it, and then. Lou, his engineer, said, "Hey, Rick Springfield's coming over. Why don't you come?"
I love John Lustow.
This was like, John Lou. I love. This was like a month later. He said, "Come on over and see Rick." And so I said to Doug, "Mix it today," because I already sang it and stuff. It was just a little demo.
She's a wonderful singer.
Okay, I work for studios for over 25 years, and the only song I get like in a movie. I sang to the computer in a garage to a track.
And this is the irony of managing incredible acoustic spaces.
It's like, isn't it ironic? I'm
Isn't
like,
it ironic?
I
Yeah,
have
that's
to
funny.
do singing to in a garage, singing to computer, and do that. So anyway, I told Dave after, me and Doug wrote a song for
Aw.
Sound City, and he's like, "Oh, cool." So I said, "Well, would you play it?" One chance in a lifetime, and he.
Oh wait, you brought the demo in?
Well, I called Doug and I said we got to meet at 6:00. Come over, and I asked if I could bring him, and I said bring the CD, mix it. So he mixed it that afternoon, and he brought it over. So I said, Dave, I hate.
God bless you, Butch Vig and Dave.
I said I hate to do this, and I don't never do this.
Don't ever do this. I've never done this.
I've never done this before, but play it. And he played it, and he liked it, and he said, so 10 months later, he put it in the movie, and there it is.
It's...
but he didn't put it on the album.
You can't make this... Yeah, Dave, you should have put it on the record, bro. If you re-release it, put it on the record, bro.
Thank you.
You can't make this up. I could talk to you for weeks, days, months, forever, because you're my forever friend. But we're probably going to wrap up pretty soon. But we do need to get into the. So we know that she's already at Capitol. We know that she wrote the song for Sound City. We know that she's doing fantastic, and what she's glossing over is a lifetime of success, a lifetime of devotion to music and to the artists that make music.
Thank you, Kim.
No, it's so true. It's so true. And basically just facilitating dreams, which comes back full circle to you talking about dreaming and coming to California.
That's
You know what I mean?
such a good way to put it.
And well, it's just so true. And I mean, still to this day, you work at Universal. You're the VP of Client Relations for Studios and Marketing. You were the face of Sound City. You were the face of Capitol. Still, I mean, the beautiful smiling face of Capitol. And I think that Universal, those of you who are listening to this, I don't think people really understand the heart that goes into doing something for decade after decade and how much you actually care. It's not just a job. It's our lives.
It's a lifetime. That's why you
It's a
said
lifetime.
like we meet friends that are for a lifetime,
Yeah.
and we're working with them.
Yeah.
And it's not that we're, just trying to be around them, but it's just like, and when we get credit for being there, like how Nathan and Tom Scott, they say,
Oh, so lovely.
you girls have been there forever. It's like, well, we were not doing nothing. We're just like welcoming you guys. They're like, no, but they get a relationship. They get a
Yeah.
warmth from us. And
Yeah.
that means so much to me.
I mean, it means so much to me as well. And one of the reasons, I've said this to you before, one of the reasons that I started doing this podcast is I walked into your office and you have so many wonderful photographs, so many wonderful memories. And you're just a little bit easier than me, like people, well, first of all, you're gorgeous. And people were just like, oh, I want to take a picture with Paula. You became a celebrity
I
in
would
your
say
own
that.
right. Became a celebrity in your own right. But I thought, I want to have some memories of this career and this life and what we've devoted to it. And that was one of the reasons that I started the podcast, because I wanted to talk to all the people that we love and shine a light on the people behind the glass, find out how they got to where they are. And everybody's story is so interesting.
It's wonderful.
Oh my God, Jim
Candace,
Scott, Moogie, Raw, it's so interesting.
My story with Jim Scott is amazing. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
it's just like,
that's another episode. That's episode 2. But
it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's such a community of love, and it's like it's success bringing the music to the
we
forefront.
haven't even talked about the Capitol Days, but I think we're going to wrap this one because it's about an hour and a half. It's a little bit long, and it's not because I couldn't talk forever. I could talk to you forever, but I do think we should probably do an episode 2. I would really love to do an episode 2. I would love to do the Capitol years, because Steve Jenowick, Pete Dell,
Leslie Ann Jones,
Al Schmitt.
And I got Al Schmitt a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh, that was a whole, but in closing, just in case you think she makes it look easy, it was not easy to get Al his star. Okay. I remember when that was happening, and that was crazy amounts of work, political navigation, and getting that done. I was blown away. I was blown away.
No,
but Tom was, everybody that's still involved at Capitol, and Don's at Blue Note, Ivy Scoff, Rachel, everybody that's still keeping that legacy alive. And Capitol will reopen.
It's so unique. It's so unique.
Oh my God.
It's such a mixture.
Well,
it's
like this
no other
studio,
industry.
this studio, and Capitol.
Yeah, you have it. Yeah,
it's 1960s onward.
yeah.
And we're still here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I got to give you credit, Candace. You've withstand so many difficulties and stuff and trials and tribulations, but you've kept this place alive.
Oh, thanks,
And I
Paula.
really am proud of you, as no one else could be. You know
I'm
what
so
I mean?
proud of you.
'Cause-
I look up to you and think that you're just an inspiration.
Well,
I love you to
we
pieces.
inspire each other. You've gotten me into things that
It's a love fest.
Yeah, but I never would have gotten into, and you've joined me in all your educational opportunities that you brought me into.
Oh, yeah.
You really are very strong.
You
in
make
that,
me look
and
good.
You're a leader. In
Oh,
that.
thanks. Well, you make me look good. See, I'm an opportunist. I bring
Isn't it
people
wonderful?
along who
It's
make me
wonderful
look
to have
good.
like a best friend and a colleague,
Competitor.
and a competitor that knows exactly what you're feeling in life. Day to day.
Oh
It's
my God.
just amazing.
There are times, and we'll close with this. Paul and I laying by a pool. And no, we were not totally relaxing. The phone rings. Someone's trying to book time. I said, no, I don't have it, but Paula might have it at Capitol. They're like, really? I'm like, hold on. Hand Paula the phone. We're laying out by the pool. The next thing I know, Paula's booking the date. There's no rest for I don't want to say the wicked, but there's no rest in this job.
But these are the things that make people think you kept your word. You got back to me. I know you satisfied what I needed to do.
Well, you helped the client. You ultimately, you serve the client, which then ultimately serves the music.
Like we tell these people coming up, if you don't like to be of service to people, get out.
Yeah.
Because
it's kind of like in John Wick. I will be of service.
Yeah.
I think that's what Keanu Reeves says in John Wick. I will be of service.
Well,
it's kind of like that.
That's why we say it's such a concierge business.
It is totally concierge business. This is the Continental. If you watch John Wick, this is the Continental.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to close this episode. I really do think we should have episode 2.
I would be honored to do that.
Oh my God, I would love to do it.
Yeah, because I mean, I can't believe I'm talking to you like.
Well, we're recording it, but
it's just like we spend so much time together and we haven't talked about a lot of stuff.
Well, there's a lot of stories we never talked. We could do like a round table where it might be too raucous, but we could have like a Jim Scott or other people or who? Yeah, Lucy. We need to get Lucy out here. Yeah, Lucy needs to. But I'm thinking of people recording. But thank you, Nate, the videographer. He's amazing.
I still talk to her. We're still friends.
I need to meet Lucy.
I mean, believe me, when you spend like those rock and roll years and stuff like that,
that's burned in stone.
And one of the DJs that I was hanging out with, I made him a beautiful sports jacket as a class project, and he started going out with Lucy. And so
Did he marry Lucy?
No.
Oh.
I warned her and it happened. But anyway, he started going out with Lucy after me, and he never picked up the jacket. So I still have the jacket. And
you have the jacket?
I still have the jacket, and I still have Lucy.
This episode is going to be called "I Still Have the Jacket."
I'm looking for a 38 long.
A 38 long. By the way, that's thin.
Cinderella.
He's a thin guy. All right, I'm going to sign off on this episode. Thank you so much for joining us and listening to Trade Secrets. I'm Candace Stewart. I'm your host. Hope we made you laugh. My beautiful, incredible guest, Paula Salvatore. Paula, I'm just so grateful to you. Thanks so much.
Candace, you're just a joy to be with, even in Hollywood.
I love you. God bless you. God bless you, everyone.